Hey guys, my name is Ismail. Welcome to Top 10 1-on-1. So in this video, we're going to start a new learning series, and this time we're going to learn Photoshop from the beginning, from the basics to at least an intermediate level, where you can create something that looks professional. So I'm going to take you through the tools, setup, and everything, how to lay out, how to start a project from start to finish, and how to make it look professional, and the different things. So this is a course I made on Udemy a few years ago, and now I'm converting it into a free web series, learning series on YouTube, just for you guys. And so this is I made it, I think, about three years ago, and now because I'm going to create a new course, a new paid course on Udemy, that's why I'm converting this into a free paid course. The version of Photoshop I used here was Photoshop CS 5.5, but the tools and steps I'll be showing you here are applicable to any version of Photoshop, from any version from at least CS3 and above. It can even apply to CC. So the new course I'm going to create is going to be in CC 2017. That's why I chose maybe to just convert this into a free course on YouTube, and then my new paid course will be on Udemy. I'll be leaving updates in the description if you want to check that out. But for this, we're going to learn Photoshop using CSS 5.5. Everything you learn here, the knowledge you get here, is applicable to any version of Photoshop you might have. Also I've been making this type of series, converting my older courses into free courses here on YouTube, and I also make some free videos here on YouTube. So if you want to check out other types of videos I've made here, because I think I made another web series on how to create a full website using Wix. I also made an introduction course on here on YouTube, a free course about WordPress. So you might want to check that out. Just go into the videos on the channel, and so this is going to be broken up into parts because it was a long course, about 3 hours. So I'm going to break it into, I think, 3 parts, just so that it's easy to digest. And so every part I make, I'll be leaving a link for it in the description, so make sure to check that out. And also, so before we get started, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and just a way to support the channel. And before we get started, let's have a brief introduction to Photoshop and look at the different tools and areas that we'll be working with in Photoshop. First of all, let's check the version number of Photoshop we are using. To check the version of Photoshop we are using, just go up to the main menu, and then under Help, click About Photoshop. You will get the version number and the credits. Here you can see that I'm using Photoshop CC. If you want to close this out, just click outside the box. Now Photoshop is subdivided in 2 different sections or workspaces, and depending on what you're creating, you can choose between different workspaces. The default workspace is the Essentials workspace, and you can check what workspace you're using by just looking at the top right corner of your window. You can see we have a drop down list. We have a drop down box here that shows the workspace you are working in. You can change it. You can change from Essentials. Just click on that drop down list. The list will open. You can see we have different workspaces. We have the Essentials, which is what we're working in right now. We have the 3D. If you're working on some 3D stuff, maybe we have the motion. If you're working on animation and what, painting, photography, typography, and more. So sometimes you can have your workspace messed up. Say we have everything messed up like that, and you want to reset your workspace. You can again go to this area, and then just under the main workspaces, you see 3 buttons to delete the workspace, create a new workspace, or reset the workspace. So if now, because I'm in the typography workspace, you can see I have the option to reset the typography workspace. So if I click it, I go back to the default setup. You saw that we also have the option to create a new workspace. So let's say I don't want this tools panel here. Maybe I want it to the right, sorry, and maybe this character panel just here. I can create a new workspace and name it what I want. I just call this character. Save. And now if I go under our workspaces,
I should be able to access that new workspace I've created. You can also delete it by just hitting delete. Sorry, no. Make sure you're selecting the workspace you want to delete. So you have to switch from the workspace you are in. We can't delete this right now because it's the active workspace. So let's cancel. Then change to essentials. Then go to delete workspace. Then you can select now. And now if we go back, it has been removed from our list. Another way to access this list, you can just go under window. You can just go to the top menu bar and then go under window, workspaces, and you see all the workspaces are listed there as well. Same, if you want to reset a workspace, you can also use the same steps, just resetting them. From there, let's look at the different panels we have. The first panel, we will look at the tools panel, which contains all the tools and the tools you'll be mostly using in Photoshop. We have the move tool, select tool, different select tools, crop, color picker. This is a healing brush, a stamp, and other icons that we'll look at in more details in the next lesson. So that's it for now. In the next lesson, we'll look at the layers panel in details. In this lesson, let's explore the different panels available in Photoshop. First of all, let's go back to the Essentials workspace by going under Window, Workspace, Essentials. Also, let's make sure that we are viewing the same workspace by resetting it. So go under Window, Workspace, Reset Essentials. Now, to see all the different panels available, you can go under Window, and this is a list of all panels available in Photoshop. These are the same panels that you will have access to in different workspaces, but some will be switched on, others will be off. So like in this Essentials workspace, you can see we have the color, layers, libraries, options and tools panels accessible. If we go to another workspace, say 3D, a different set of panels will be accessible, but still you can add more panels by going under Windows and then clicking on the panel you want to add. If you look at the right corner, this bar, each panel I created was minimized into an icon. So to access it again, you just click on the respective icon. So again, you can go back, Windows, Workspace, and reset the workspace. All these panels can be moved around. So if you move your cursor to these bars, you see these black bars around here, like barcodes. If you drag them, you can float that panel to a different area you want. If they come out minimized like this, just click on these forward arrows to expand that panel, or click the backward arrows to minimize it. Again, to drag it back to its position, just drag it again to the edge of the window or to the edge of the panel you want to add. And these panels can go in different areas. See, you can drag this panel from here to under here. Maybe bring this as well to here. And remember, we can create our new workspace by going under this drop down list and then selecting new workspace and then renaming it to what you want, and it will appear in the workspace list. And let's again create that and see. So if we create a new workspace and call it brushes, save, we can re-access it as under window, workspace. You can see we have it there again. So if we change to essentials and we wanted to return to the setup we have just created, we can go under window, workspace, brushes. If you want to delete it, you just go under window, workspace, delete workspace, or come to this drop down list and then delete it from there. Sorry, make sure you are selecting the right workspace, otherwise you will delete another workspace. So let's just delete it from, let's make sure we have a default workspace, a different workspace setup than what we want to delete, and then go under window, workspace, delete workspace, brushes. In this lesson, let us look at the layers panel in more details. So the layers panel is this panel, and we're going to be using it to create new layers, delete or move around layers. If you don't have it in your workspace, you can go and access it under Windows, then choose it from the list. You can drag it to any position you want, but I like it in the default position, so I just go on and reset this workspace. So if we go to the layers panel, you can see that most of the icons are grayed out or not active. To activate them, we need to create a new project. So to create a new project, go under File, and then New. You can call it your whatever you want. I'll call it New. Let's leave everything as is, then OK. We immediately get a new panel that will have our working area. After creating the project, you can see the layers panel has been populated with a new layer, which is our background layer, and by default it is locked, so you can't paint on it or erase or delete anything on it. So what we can do is first unlock it by double clicking on the lock icon. Then you can see all the icons available are now accessible. So just under the layers panel, we can see this icons bar, which has a few different icons, but for now let's look at this first one, which is creating the new layer icon, which is the new layer icon. If you click it, you create a new layer and a new empty layer, and you can tell that's empty because of these check marks. For every layer we create, you can see it has this eye, which shows that the layer is visible or is off. To switch off the layer, you just click on that icon and it will go off. You can see now we are left with an empty workspace, working area. To bring it back, you just click it again and the layer will happen again. Let's create a bunch of layers here. Layer 2, layer 3. Every time you create a new layer, the layer will be automatically named for you, layer 1, layer 2, and so on. So have layer 1, layer 2, layer 3, layer 4. Layer 0 is our background layer, and you can change it to any color by using the shortcut Alt backspace. That will fill it with the foreground color. If you use the shortcut Control backspace, you will fill it with the background color, and you can know which one is the background color and the foreground color by these icons here. So if I change this to a different color, just clicking it to open the color picker, can change this to a different color, maybe blue, and if I hit Alt backspace, blue will be filled in because it's the foreground color. You can switch between the foreground and background color by clicking this icon here. So you can see, or just use Alt for foreground color and Control backspace for the background color. Alt backspace for the foreground color, Control backspace for the background color. Now we have different tools we can use to draw on the canvas or on our layers, and they can be accessible in our tools panel, which is this panel here. I like to maximize it so that instead of having a 1-column panel, it is a 2-column panel. That way I can easily access all the panels without moving my cursor way down this side. So if I selected the brush tool, maybe change the color to red, and I selected layer 1, I can just make sure you have the opacity full to 100%. If I draw now, you can see I've drawn on layer 1. Can select layer 2, then change the color, maybe blue. Can see the layer that is on top will be the layer that the contents of that layer will appear on top of the layer below it. So if I go to layer 3, change the color maybe to green, and draw, and see. But see, I don't like the way my brush is drawing, because it's drawing these faint lines which kind of look blurred. So to make sure that my brush draws sharp strokes, you can right click inside your working area and you get this brush options panel, and you can change the hardness, which controls how soft your brush is. So putting it at 0% will create a soft stroke. Putting it at 100% will create a hard stroke. I usually like it somewhere in between. So yeah. Now let's create another. Let's go to layer 4. Change the color again. Maybe this time let's use a yellow. And draw again. So you can see the layer above, the contents on the layer above will always be above the layers, all the layers below that layer. If we move this yellow or layer 4 and a layer below layer 3, you can see all its contents will go below everything on layer 3. So same, put it under, or if we bring layer 1 up to layer above all layers, or if we bring layer 0 above, see, because it's the whole layer is filled with white, it is covering the entire page. So if we bring this back up, see, then drag this up and this up, is up. You see, when you create multiple layers, they can get confusing which is which. So if you want to rename a layer, just double click on the name and then call it whatever you want. Call this red, then call it green, or you can just select the layers, all the layers you want, and then drag them into this second icon that looks like a folder to group those layers. So I'll just call these colors. Maybe delete it. Maybe I should delete this. Select all. You can hold shift and then select multiple layers. So if I want to delete this, I can simply hit delete on the keyboard or drag them into this trash icon. Now there are other tools you can try out. So let's shadow this first. Maybe try out some other tools like the shape tool. The shape tool just simply draws helps you draw polygons onto your canvas. So if I selected this rectangle tool, can just drag out a square or rectangle. To change the color of the shape, you can just go under fill and then select color you want. Okay. Now, since we have a group of color layers, we can also create another group of shape layers. So you can just select this, drag it into the group icon. In this lesson, let us look at importing and working with images in Photoshop. To open up an image or to import an image in Photoshop, just go under File, then Open, then browse to where your image is, select the image and then hit Open. So after clicking Open, it will be opened up in the working area, and a new background layer will be created containing that image. First of all, let's unlock that layer by double clicking on this lock icon, and then we have our image. You can use the move tool to drag it around. Let's hit undo. You can also select parts of an image, and if you have it unlocked as a background layer, and you use a selection tool to create a selection, and then select the drag tool and try to move that selected area, you'll be moving a portion of that image. Check marks here show that there is transparency or nothing here. If we add a new layer, let's see, and then draw something on it, let's select a brush, select. This area that we cut out will be like a window to see through other areas.